Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to our online event, Grenada Citizenship for South African Investors. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anastasia Yanni, and I'm the CEO of Global Citizen Advisory. Our company is specializing in providing consultation services and advice regarding investment, citizenship, and residency programs. We have knowledge and experience of all European, Caribbean, and American programs. But what is citizenship or residency by investment programs? What are the so-called golden visas? To put it very simply, these are government-approved programs where investors have an opportunity to invest in the real economy of the country and in return to get economic citizenship or residency. These programs become more and more popular every day, especially now in the time of pandemic. In the time of closed borders, we can see increased demand for various programs, and especially on the programs that can be done fully online. Every family and every person have their own reasons. However, we have analyzed and identified several big reasons that are common to all our investors from South Africa. To put them in, to see what they are, the first one is by far possibility of relocation of families to safer and wealthier countries. The second very popular reason is providing better future for their children. In the time of volatility that we're experiencing now, it also gives you insurance against unknown. And of course, when the currency changes every day, it provides safe and secure investment. And even though now we cannot travel as freely as we want to, the freedom of travel and ease of travel is still very, very high on the agenda. In Global Citizen Advisory, we select suitable immigration program for each individual and each family based on very specific requirements of each particular family. But today, we will talk about citizenship of Grenada. This is a very well-known, very reputable, and proven program. We will talk about benefits, practical steps, and discuss main points and questions that we receive from our clients. I'm very happy to be joined today by Mariam Mansouri, Business Director of Range Developers. Range Developers is the only developers company that completed and delivered luxury hotels in the Caribbean. They have deep knowledge and expertise of the market. Mariam herself has been working with international investors for the last 8 years. She is a renowned expert in all aspects of Grenada citizenship. Welcome, Mariam, to our event.
Thank you so much for having me, Anastasia. It's my pleasure to be on this panel with you. And as usual, we love teaming up with Global Citizen Advisory, given your expertise and your reputation in the field.
Thank you very much. To start with, I want to raise once again the point that now we can see increased interest for all the programs of alternative citizenship and residency. And these, of course, these programs have always been popular. But now, when the whole world closed in one day, we can see how important it is to have the citizenship and residency program. We can see that now the programs that allow to proceed without visiting the place, that allow to fulfill the whole process online, they become more and more popular. And of course, we also, from conversations with our international investors, we all know that one day the situation will finish and the world will go back to the new normal. So it is very important to take the lessons of what we know now and use it for the future. And to start with, I will cover first of all, I want to tell you that we decided with Mariam that we don't want to make theoretical webinar. We don't want to go through millions of presentations. What we will do practical questions and answers. And we will cover all the main questions that we hear again and again and again. However, please note that if we don't cover any of your particular specific questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer to them at the end of the webinar. So to start with, I will cover very briefly the main part of Grenada citizenship. What is it? What is the process? And how can we proceed and what are the benefits? Okay, so let's start with the basic. I have already mentioned that there are many programs that offer citizenship or residency. However, every year Grenada shows to be one of the most popular. Why is that? Because the program provides multiple benefits to the investors and to the holders of Grenadian passport. The first very popular reason is that it offers the holders a possibility to relocate to the United States with the help of E2 visa. We will cover the whole process during our discussion, but this has been one of the main attractions. It also offers long-term visa up to 10 years to the United States. What is important, it has huge amount of countries visa-free. It allows access to over 144 countries, including United Kingdom, the EU countries, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Brazil. So if you're doing business with any of these countries, this is a huge help and huge benefit. As I mentioned before, there is no need to visit the island at all during or after the application process. There is no requirement to reside in Grenada, and the important part, information on obtaining citizenship is not disclosed. Apart from that, of course, it gives the right to live and work in Grenada at all times and enjoy all the rights of Grenadian citizens. All family members can obtain citizenship, and what is important, citizenship is inherited. So you can get it for you and your children and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren to come. The country offers social and political stability. Important part is the taxes. There is no global income, no dividends, wealth and inheritance tax. No interview or language requirements and fast processing time. Of course, with COVID, the time changed a little bit, but not dramatically. We can still go within 2, 3, sometimes 4 months, but of course, we always inform all our applicants. And compared to other programs, it has minimal processing fees. Who can apply? That's an important point. Investor, spouse of investor, dependent children under 30 years old, parents of the investor and or spouse, and childless and unmarried siblings. So as you can see from this slide, the whole family can proceed under the same application. This is a very important point and a big advantage of the program. What are the general criteria? The main investor has to be at least 18 years old. He or she shouldn't be under any sanctions or restrictions or bans. He shouldn't have criminal record or criminal proceedings. The person should have impeccable personal and business reputation. And of course, we all live in new reality. So like with all other programs, it's important to provide source of funds information. And of course, as it is citizenship by investment, it's important to have enough funds to make the required investment. Grenada offers three types of investment routes. Today we will discuss in detail the first route, which is proper investment with return, which is investment shares in the hotel business. There is a possibility to invest in real estate, or there is a possibility to proceed with donation to the government. So that was the main part, but now let's go straight to the questions. And let's start with the first one. Mary, from your experience, why do South Africans investors choose Grenada? How important is it for them a possibility of relocation to the United States? And how does it work?
Sure. For South Africans, up till date, global mobility has been one of the most important factors, especially for entrepreneurs and businessmen. The ability to travel without requiring a visa was ever so critical before, but now it's even more critical because as embassies shut and as visa services are suspended, entrepreneurs and families that have a visa-free passports are still able to access certain parts of the world as long as the flights are open there. So there's no ifs, buts, maybe, in case they have businesses or opportunities that are outside South Africa, they're able to access those.
But just to cover this point a little bit more. So when you have visa-free travel, does it mean that you still need to inform the embassy, or are there any restrictions of the number of times that you can travel?
It's a very good question. No, you don't need to inform anybody. It's as simple as deciding you want to go to the United Kingdom this evening, finding a flight and getting on it. Anastasia, it's really important for our clients to know this isn't visa on arrival. It's not online visa. It's visa free. It's your given right as a Grenadian citizen to access 144 countries in the world visa free. That is the highlight. And also during the pandemic, you've seen that a lot of people have decided to move their families to other countries where they've either found it safer or they have found it more comfortable because they have extended family in those countries. The Grenadian citizenship allows you to stay in the United Kingdom, for example, 6 months a year consecutively without needing a visa, without needing to speak to anybody or inform anybody. It's become quite important. The second reasons why South Africans do this is because South Africans are looking for tax efficient investment opportunities that are also pegged to the US dollar, because the inflation and deflation of their currency is something you're very familiar with, more than me and more than you. And when we say that the currency of Grenada with their investment is pegged to the US dollar, this is a safe haven. It's not, going around the law. However, the country, just like Dubai, the UAE, currency is pegged to the US dollar. So when they make an investment of $220,000 today, their ROI is also in dollars. Their return on investment, as well as their exit strategy, is also based on dollars. So it's safer for them, and it's a tax-free jurisdiction. We've seen with all the costs that COVID has given us, someone has to foot that bill, and it's going to be a tax bill. It's, the money's going to come from somewhere as economies are suffering. The third reason is the E2 visa for the United States. First of all, it's an investor visa. We'll get into it in details. However, the waiting period to apply for a green card, which is the EB5 for South Africans, is approximately 5 years. Price has gone up to $900,000 in a targeted employment area, which, nobody wants to set up their business or set up their life in a targeted employment area. And in a non-targeted employment area, it's 1.8 million. So these are the three main factors that South Africans look for in order to get a second citizenship.
What we can see talking to our investors, that yes, EB5 was very popular, but now the waiting time and the increase of the investment, and also now it's very difficult to build the plans 5 and 6 and 7 years in advance. And lots of people say that when they study E2 treaty and when they understand what it is, actually they see multiple benefits and what you can do. So can you please tell our listeners a little bit more what are the peculiarities of E2 treaty between Grenada and America, and why is it so beneficial for its holders?
Sure. First and foremost, it's the price point. As mentioned before, it's 900,000 or 1.8 million. The E2 treaty has been given to certain countries. There's around 78 countries that have E2 treaty. The likes of these countries are the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Germany, so on and so forth, Japan as well. Now, the E2 says if you open a business of your choice in a location of your choice worth approximately $100,000 and above, if you are from a treaty country, you're entitled to something called E2. Now, we'll break the E2 down and say, what is an E2 exactly? It's a non-immigrant investor visa. And during the past three and a half years of Donald Trump's presidency, we've seen the EB-5 change dramatically. We've seen L1 visas completely suspended. H1Bs have also been suspended, continuously funneling it down in terms of immigration. So immigration policies, which goes through the USCIS, is quite diligent on making sure Americans and their jobs and their livelihoods are protected. Fair enough, we understand. And with all due respect, they have every right to protect their own people first. However, E2 is a non-immigrant investor visa. Hence why it's not been changed, it's not been altered, it's not going to be revoked. If they change an E2 visa policy, they would need to change it for all 78 countries, including the American allies, such as the United Kingdom. What does it do? It doesn't take away jobs from Americans. It's an investor visa. It creates jobs, creates consumer power, and it creates a better livelihood in any part of their country that a foreigner of a treaty country that's been pre-vetted can take part in. So if you open up a business of your choice, such as nail spas, restaurants, salons, all the way up to logistics, consultation, multi-million-dollar businesses, you would create at least one job. You would bring your family into the United States under an E2 visa treaty. Your children get to go to school. Public school is completely free, exactly like the EB-5. Your spouse can work anywhere in the United States, exactly like the EB-5. And your children get in-state tuition discounts on universities, exactly like the EB-5. However, you're there as an investor, you're not there as an immigrant.
So to summarize, if you have Grenadian passport, you can apply for E2 visa with the investment of about 100 and just about 100, creating your own business. Your children have the same access to public schooling as Americans, and your spouse can work anywhere he or she wants. So this is, I think, like if we put in the summary, these are the main points. Actually. So now we covered the big things. Let's go to the small things because we discussed with you many times, but these questions are coming again and again and again. And the first question is, where is Grenada?
That question needs to come up more often. However, because it doesn't require people to live there or reside there, a lot of our clients completely skip that part of the equation. Grenada is in the Caribbean. It's part of the CARICOM family. It is one of the only CARICOM family countries that has an E2 visa. The rest of them don't. It's the only Caribbean country that has visa-free access to China. The rest of them don't. It's the only one that has a university that is accredited in the United States.
I think we will discuss the university in details because it's such a huge point. But would you agree that lately with the pandemic, we are asked, at least we feel it a lot, we asked more and more people who actually want to relocate to Grenada. And the question is, like, can I relocate to Grenada after getting citizenship and live and work there?
100%. The Caribbean is a very safe environment. Grenada is a secular country. It's extremely safe politically. They do not discriminate against race, nationality, religion, so on and so forth. Every client is judged on their own background. Due diligence is done on clients as individuals and not as citizens of XY country or religious beliefs of X, Y, and Z, which makes it a very peaceful place to be. Now, in terms of GDP, obviously citizenship by investment is the highest driver of the GDP of the country. It's followed by tourism. These countries are extremely beautiful. Our clients may be more familiar with the island of St. Bart's, which is a celebrity hangout in the Caribbean. And at the same time, there's also the university that drives profit. Now, Anastasia, what's really important about Grenada is these Caribbean cruises that come and go in the Caribbean, each of them holding, 1,000, 2,000 passengers, have regarded this as the spice and jewelry island. Because it's tax free, a lot of our clients, a lot of our tourists decide to make their purchases when it comes to big jewelry in Grenada itself.
That's very interesting. So now let's talk a little bit about St. George's University. I can tell you myself that when we started offering Grenada, the first impression was, okay, there is a new university. But now we can see again and again what a huge benefit and how unique this offering is. Can you please tell us a bit more?
Sure. The St. George's University is extremely unique in the way that it is accredited by the United States. On top of that, it specializes in the medical field. Not to say it doesn't have the other programs, it has arts and sciences and business administration and so on and so forth. However, the highlight in the specialty is the medical school and the veterinary school. If you graduate, Anastasia, as a student of St. George's in the medical field, you can practice your medical residency in the United States the very next day. That is why it's the highest provider of medical residencies to the United States outside the United States. So, for example, if you study in London or Germany in some of the best medical schools in the world, if you were to practice medicine in the United States, you would have to go through another series of examinations to pass the board. If you graduate from St. George's in Grenada, you don't need to do that. That's why 60% of the students in St. George's are American citizens.
I think here what also matters, not only the access, because as you correctly said, the first thing that you can finish the best university in the world, but you will not be able to practice without doing huge certain number of years in the US. But also it's a cost, and that's the reason why, as you mentioned, there are so many American students, because the cost it's a fraction of a price.
Exactly. And now imagine how much better it would be when you're a citizen of that country and you're studying in your own country. The benefits and the costs and the discounts is huge.
That's absolutely fantastic. I know that we never go with you into details into taxes, but because taxes is such a huge matter, let's touch base on that. And the first question is, like, where do I pay taxes if I have two passports?
Well, in terms of the laws in South Africa, I would not be in a position to advise our clients on their taxes. However, I will discuss taxes in Grenada, and we will also discuss taxes that are applicable to E2 when you're in the United States. The Grenadian country does not charge any taxes that are based on global income. There's no inheritance tax. There's no gift tax. The only taxes that you pay in Grenada is out of your Grenadian income if you live in Grenada more than 6 months a year. So there's two ways. If you're living in Grenada but not generating an income within Grenada, you don't pay taxes. If you are not living in Grenada but have a wonderful business in Grenada, you're not paying taxes. So that's on the Grenadian side. You're only eligible to pay taxes on your Grenadian income if you live in Grenada for more than 6 months a year. So we put that aside. Now we get to the E2 part, which is quite exciting. The day you get a green card, so let's say you've paid the 900, you've waited 5 years, finally your time has come and you're given a green card. The day you're given a green card is the day you're globally taxed on your income everywhere, regardless of what passport you hold. The E2, however, is a lot better. If you spend less than 122 days as the main applicant, so wife and children can continue living in the States for 365 days a year. Main applicant, the source of income, the business owner, if they manage to stay in the US less than 122 days a year, they don't even have to file global taxes. They only pay taxes based on that one business that they have inside the United States. So what they have in South Africa, what they have in the GCC, for example, many of our South African clients have assets in Dubai. All of that will not be taxed.
That's a huge benefit, and not many people know about it. So another small question. So for how many years is Grenadian passport valid, and how can I renew it?
The Grenadian passport is valid for 5 years. Please bear in mind that the citizenship by investment scheme in Grenada is part of the law. So it's not something that myself came up with or as a developer or Anastasia. No one does us any favors because we decided to be a hotel developer there. There's a law. We follow the law to the T. The law says if you invest $220,000 in a government-approved project, you are entitled to second citizenship. It's valid for 5 years. You get a certificate of naturalization. And I can't stress this enough to our clients. That one paper that you pay $250 for is a lot more valuable than your passport because you are a naturalized citizen of Grenada. Allows you to renew your passport in the closest embassy that Grenada has to you. Mind you, there are not that many of them because it's a smaller country that's 120,000 people in population. If you decide to relocate to the United States with your E2, the closest to you is obviously Grenada itself. If you're on this side of the world and you're still, globally traveling, you're a globetrotter, you have businesses worldwide, there is the closest to you is Dubai, which is a hub for all our clients. They have an embassy here and representatives, as well as a couple in the European states, as well as the United Kingdom.
Thank you very much. I think we have covered most of the questions regarding general processes. Now let's go to the investment. Okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will do a very short presentation of the beautiful hotel that range developers are currently building in Grenada. Mariam will also explain to you about the completed hotels because everyone can say that we're building the hotels, but it's important to understand who is approved by the government and who actually completes what they say. So, Mariam, over to you.
So Grenada is citizenship by investment, and we discussed it's part of the federal law to do this. As range development, all we do is we build our own hotels in the Caribbean where our clients have an opportunity of obtaining second citizenship. This is the heart and soul of range developments. And true to our word, we're the only developer worldwide that has been able to deliver not just one, but 2 5-star hotels under citizenship by investment. In total, we have processed 1,600 family members, given out 4,000 citizenships, and created over 2,000 jobs. Now you ask, why? Why a hotel? Can I go buy a piece of land and get citizenship? You can't. You have to be invested in a government-approved project. Why a hotel? It's the same price. We don't charge you more because we are a 5-star hotel developer. The price set by the government is $220,000. However, please bear in mind that the hotel creates jobs in that country. Are you able to exit? Yes. You're locked in for 5 years. After 5 years, when you exit, the new buyer can also apply for citizenship. Just the way you were enticed to get a second citizenship today for all the reasons we mentioned, for the same reasons, a second buyer would be buying that from you. Where can you do this? You can do this either through us as Range Developments, or you can revert back to Global Citizen Advisory, or you can go to any citizenship, immigration, residency law firm in the world or consultant that will take care of you. Even prior to COVID, as Six Senses, the brand, there are resorts. If you delve into it and research them a little bit, they've never built in high density locations. They've always been spread out across resorts. They're very well known for their sustainability program. They are givers to the environment while giving the five-star luxury comforts to their clientele. Ever so more important today is not being in high density areas. So it's a 100-room resort. It's a beautiful suite. Each and every one is a suite, and our clients can enjoy the luxury and the comfort while being safe. So the Six Senses Resorts and Spas operates around 2 hotels, 15 resorts, and 31 spas in the world. The closest, I'm not sure if you guys have a Six Senses in South Africa. We don't even have one in Dubai. Again, because of the high density building, closest to one is in Oman. It's the closest to the airport. It's on one of the nicest beaches that we have. La Sagesse is the name of the beach. It was voted as one of the top 10 beaches of the Caribbean. These are some renderings. And these are the pictures that Anastasia loves more than anything else. And I completely share her taste. Think it's beautiful and tranquil. And if you're going to get a second citizenship, why not do it the five-star way?
That's very true. Thank you very much. And of course, we will be able to share all this information in more detail. But now let's go, like we shared the general information and you touched base on many points, but I want to cover them again because these are the questions that we are asked again and again. So we have seen that there are actually three options of investing. But why do you believe that investing in hotel shares is considered to be most reliable and in the end most profitable?
For sure. First of all, the government is they're very excited about having a five-star hotel in their country. This really contributes to their tourism. That's why the hotel has been priced at $220,000. In case it's a real estate or a house or an apartment, the minimum price is $350,000. So it's definitely value for money. Anastasia, as much as we are a hotel developer in the Caribbean, we're very aware that our clients didn't wake up today and say, let's invest in the Caribbean and make 2 to 4% ROI. The main aim and drive for this is to get their second citizenship. So cost is an option. If you can get the lower cost for a five-star hotel, why would you not? They run the hotel for you. They manage your ROI for you. You're given your annual reports. Obviously, it's a five-star international brand, so it's audited on a international transparent level every year. Second of all, you have to look at a real estate in terms of your title deed as well as in terms of your protecting your name and all your other assets in life. This isn't going to be the one asset you have in your life. So in order to purchase a hotel or a hotel room in terms of a title deed, you're looking at $2 million. On the low end, you're looking at 1.8. This isn't something feasible my clients want to do. Why would they want to do that to themselves? They break it up. So our hotel has been given 575 investor slots in order to protect them from, not ending up with 3 years in terms of their ROI because we've sold to 50,000 people. And also for their exit, but I'll touch base on that. When you're in a real estate trust, you're anonymous. You have full anonymous and rights as everybody else. You don't know the investor before you. You don't know the investor after you, which applies obviously to the other investors as well. But that's not the biggest deal here. The biggest deal here is you don't own a shared ownership or a shared title deed with 500 other people that you've never met in your life. So let's say if I buy a house today, I wouldn't buy a title deeded house with 4 other people that I've never met. What if they end up doing some fraud? What if their kids end up doing something? I am implicated in everything that they have been a part of. Compliance on my bank is going to start, red flags. Compliance on my other properties is going to have red flags. So is my livelihood. When you're in a real estate trust, one, you're anonymous. Two, you're independent to everybody else. So whether somebody else out of the 575 does something or not, you're not responsible for it. And then we come to the fact that you can resell it. Does investing in shares in the Six Senses qualify as real estate in order to get citizenship? 100%. The law is there, and we have the approvals that we can share with everyone on a one-on-one basis. 5 years later, you want to exit. Is someone going to buy a random house from you in an island that's all the way on the other side of the world? They don't know what's good. They don't know what's bad. The upkeep and managing of a property when it's in the same country as you're living in is already hard enough. In managing the upkeep and the service charges and what happens on the other side of the world. 5-star hotel, lesser in price, safer in terms of being anonymous and independent to each other. Someone will buy it from you. They will get a passport for themselves and your family. You will continue enjoying the benefits of being a citizen by investment for the rest of your life. And we do this right now for our first 2 projects, on average twice a week.
Let's split all this information into small things just as a summary. I think that what we can see, the most important part is that first, there is a limited number of shares. Like you said, it's not possible to keep issuing and issuing and issuing more shares. There is a guarantee and restriction by the government for the fixed number of shares. That's number one. And please have in mind that when we start working, range developers are able to provide all the documents proving everything that Mariam is saying now. The whole history is very transparent and very clear. So this is number one. Number two is that when you buy shares, you're completely independent, meaning that you are not connected to any other individual buying the same property. So in case there is an issue in the future with one of the application or with one of the cases, it doesn't affect you at all. The third point is a big point, and this is exit. By the rules of the program, you can sell your investment in 5 years. And this is the point that, of course, is of concern to all the investors. And as Mariam correctly said, there is a big difference either you sell the share in the active 5-star hotel or a non-real estate. Or you can proceed with donation, but then you know for sure that you will never recover this money. And there is demand, and the government doesn't give huge number of permissions for the new hotels and for the new construction. So this is very important. One more thing that I want to reiterate is about return on investment. Even though, of course, we all understand that the main point is not investment as such, but it's nice to understand that you can generate some income. So can you just, Ray, once again mention what is the expected revenue based on your experience from other hotels?
Well, based on our past experience of the other 2 hotels, additionally based on the projections made by the Six Senses, that's why they put their brand name on this project, clients are looking at between 2 to 5%. However, it's not so much about capital gains as capital preservation, where the exit comes into place, and 5 years later, you can make your $220,000 back.
That's very, very good point. Uh, we also get lots of questions. Okay, so I invested in the hotel. And okay, I get my benefits, but can I really use it myself? Because the pictures of the island looks great, and I'd love to spoil my family with a bit of the luxury.
Sure. 100%. First of all, one thing I missed on the last question, Anastasia, is that the revenue is driven from the entire resort. So restaurant, spa, bar, taxi service, and rooms. So it's not just, specific to just rooms. Because we see a lot of these Caribbean cruises come in just to wine and dine on these islands and use the hotels on a day pass. And obviously, that's huge revenue for the investors. In terms of can you stay there? Yes, 100% you can stay there. You're entitled to stay there 1 week a year, free of charge, yourself and your family. In addition to that, while this hotel is under construction, you're more than welcome to stay at any of our other two resorts in the Caribbean as your choice. Whether it's the Park Hyatt, whether it's the Kempinski, you are our guest for 1 week a year.
Thank you very much. Let's now take some questions from the audience, and then we will proceed with our next part. Okay, so is it correct to assume that when you receive the E2 visa and green card in the USA, you will be taxed worldwide according to USA tax laws? We already answered this question, so in summary, if you are E2 and if you're the main investor spending less than 122 days in the US, then the answer is no. Of course, what I want to mention here once again, that we are open for private online consultation, one-on-one personal discussion for each and every question that you might have. So please have it in mind. Okay? Can you resell your investment after 5 years, and how well does this work? I think the first part we answered that yes, you can. So Mariam, can you comment from the previous hotels completed, how well does it work?
It works pretty well. We process them around 2 to 3 times a week. To address that question, let me make it a practical scenario. 5 years from today, obviously, this project is sold out. This project is currently the only 5-star being constructed on the island. So by the time your 5 years is up, you are the only 5-star ROI delivering tangible property on the island that can give someone second citizenship. If you had that option today, you would take it for the same price as what we are offering you right now, which is an off-plan project, simply because there is nothing else.
So I think this connects to the next question. Have you had successful resales, and what value do they recover in reality, the full to 20 or a bit less? Of course, because this particular hotel is under construction, there have not been successful resales yet. But can you comment on the remaining part?
Sure. Our previous 2 projects have had successful resales. It happens quite often. See, you need to understand that you're free to sell this to whomever you please. There is no restrictions. Majority of our clients, by default, end up finding friends and family who didn't believe in the proposition to begin with, missed the boat when the number of investors were filled out, and they just had to wait for their, brother, cousins, uncles, 5 years to be done so they could purchase that. Do I see someone making a lot of money on this? No. Very transparent with you. We haven't seen anyone that made a purchase for 220 because the other ones is also a 220, Kempinski and Dominica. No one has been able to sell it for 320. However, selling it for the same price, because that's the price required by the government for you to get a citizenship. So it's not a supply and demand kind of real estate market. It's a citizenship real estate market. Government says 220 and everybody's selling it 220. Hence, we said capital preservation.
Thank you. Do you have any insurance for apartments from disasters?
100%. We're a 5-star. We're building a 5-star international brand. We have to follow the international 5-star rules. It's mandatory. It's in part of all of our contracts as a developer.
Excellent. And what now we are moving to a different, like the questions are from all the parts. So this is, what is the requirements to open a bank account in a Grenada?
Just like there's a requirement for any other bank account. Obviously, it's easier when you're a Grenadian because they've already done their due diligence on you. The background checks have been done. You show up with your passport, your certificate of naturalization, and you'll have a bank account as your right in your own country within a few hours.
Thank you. Next question. Can my family stay in the hotel when it is finished? Yes.
Of course, and you can stay in the other ones while it's not finished.
So you have a choice of, you can hop Caribbean islands. And another question, which is very important, and actually we didn't cover it today, but it is, I'm very happy that it is asked. When should I pay? Before or after getting citizenship?
You pay a deposit, which is refundable to you in case you get rejected based on a background check. You pay a couple of your legal fees, your due diligence fees and your processing fees. Those will not be refunded to you because that actually goes to the government to process and do due diligence on your behalf, on your background. The rest, the 90%, you pay upon approval. This is why we are one of the fewer government-approved projects, because as the developer, we sit on the same side as the client. The investment part, we refund to you if you get rejected. We want to have our approvals and our rejection rates as low as possible. So you pay the 90% after you're approved.
That's very good, because in many countries, you have to pay everything in advance and then wait and see if you're approved or not. In Grenada, you only pay reservation, which is refundable in case if you are refused or that your application is denied. So in reality, in such unlikely circumstance, because it's very important to mention that before we proceed with any payment and with any transfer of money from your side, we are doing preliminary due diligence on you. So like the first step is always we run the world check and we will see if you are eligible for the program. Next question, what will be the position for 2 adults, adult daughter and grandchild?
I think that's a question that we'll have to address separately on a one-on-one consultation. Age matters, whether the adult daughter is married matters. I suggest we have that offline and we would be more than happy to assist you.
Yes. So here what I need to mention is remember that the program covers whole family, but of course details matter. The age, like Miriam said, we will be able to provide you with exact consultation, with exact calculation of costs involved based on the age and based on the structure of the family. What is dynamic of cost real estate in Grenada last 5 years, 10 years? I believe that this question is in general, is the demand that the prices go up, down, and what is the general sentiment?
See, again, the real estate investment is pegged by the government. The majority of foreign investors into the country are investing for citizenship. That is pegged by the government to $220,000. So it would be really difficult to say that in the non-citizenship real estate market, there aren't a lot of foreign players. So it's quite stable for the Grenadians that were born there themselves.
Perfect. That's a very nice comment. We would like to meet with you. Thank you.
We would like to meet with you too.
We would like to meet with you too. So the easiest way would be to book this one-on-one consultation, which we can plan around your convenient time. We will be able to discuss in detail and answer all the questions and guide you every step of the way. Next question, what are the processing fees?
Again, that's another question we'll have to discuss offline because the processing fees depend on the number of your family members and their ages.
That's very clear, but like let's say a guide. Let's say if we have a family, 2 adults, 2 children, what is the ballpark figure?
The ballpark figure is around $80,000 to $90,000 depending on their ages.
Okay, very clear. Interesting question. Are there any restrictions on bringing in dogs to the country? I.e., do you restrict pit bulls, etc.?
No, we're a beautiful island. We're extremely dedicated to our nature, and animals are more than welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all the questions. So it was a pleasure to have this conference. And before we complete, I just want to go with you if you are interested. And if you would like to find out a little bit more about the program, because obviously in 1 hour, we were not able to cover everything. So what are the next steps? If you would like to find out more, if you would like to explore either Grenada or other citizenship and residency programs, you will need to arrange one-on-one online consultation where our global citizen advisory experts will be able to listen to you and find out the suitable solution. For Grenada, the first thing after online consultation is to check the first due diligence, which is revision, whether you are eligible to participate. And this is a very easy part. We would request the copy of the passport and then we will come with the first information. When you finally decide that yes, this is something that we can do, then you proceed with the payment of 10% reservation deposit, lawyers and government duty fees. Of course, as we explained during our online conversation, we would provide you with exact cost calculation of everything. Lawyers fees, government fees, absolutely everything is clear and transparent. Then we will help you preparation of all necessary documents. Mariam and Range Developers has the whole department working in this area, and they will again guide you every step of the way. Then submission, approval, and only after you receive the approval, you pay the remaining amount. And then you receive the ownership certificate and Grenadian passport. So if you would like to book one-on-one consultation, we will provide you with all the contact numbers. You can contact us by email, and of course we will do the follow-up calls after the webinar to see how we can improve our webinars. Was it of interest and if it was helpful? But for now, Mariam, thank you very much. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on our event.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. It's my pleasure to join you on these events. Just to be affiliated and associated with an advisory firm like yourself, who puts the client's needs and requirements first, it's my pleasure to be on any panel with you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for spending this time with us. We hope that it was interesting and we look forward to talking to you personally. Have a wonderful evening and take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.